Hello Internet, my name is Ashes and welcome to I just watched the new episodes of Stranger Things in one day and now I'm dead inside. So let's make some merch. I know it says Resin Projects in the title, but I'm gonna start by making a t-shirt with my Cricut, since I don't use it enough. All you have to do is find a nice image like this, select the background color, delete it, and boom, ready for a shirt. Or you can buy them off of Etsy for $3, which is what I do for the two Resin projects. Though all these images are still copyright, so if you want to sell them, do that at your own risk. Anyway, it's super simple to make this shirt. All you need is a $150 Cricut Air 2, some colored vinyl. I'm using this Paper Studio brand. I've never used it before, but it was on sale, so we'll see if it works. Next, you're gonna need some weeding tools. I'm pretty sure these actually came with my Cricut. And then you're gonna need a shirt that works with the vinyl you got. I may just be an idiot, but I don't know how many times I've not looked and bought the wrong vinyl, so please make sure you look. And then of course an image. Oh, and an iron or something to heat up the vinyl to temp. I have one of these Cricut heat presses because I don't know how to properly use my money. Anyway, all you have to do is cut it out, weed it, which is my least favorite part, and then iron it on. Mine was a hot peel, so when it's a hot or warm peel, make sure to do it kind of slowly, otherwise I find that it'll rip. But this vinyl ended up working really well. I had nothing actually lift up, and so far everything has stayed on. I'll have to give it a wash after 48 hours. And then I'll put it in the description if it worked out. But now on to the resin projects you clicked on this video for. The first is a very simple resin keychain. Now if you've never worked with resin before, this is not the video for you. There are lots of get started with resin videos. And eventually I should probably make one, but if you've done a little bit and you want a good beginner project, then this is the project for you. All you need is your resin of choice. It can be two-part, but you have to make sure it's the thin pour stuff. Otherwise, it will take until season 5 comes out to cure. Also, if you choose UV resin like I am, you're gonna make sure you need a light. I have this one that's used for t-shirt stenciling, and then obviously you can pick your images. I'm going to be printing them out onto some clear film for my inkjet printer. Now you could use any kind of clear paper, or you could use regular paper that you cut around very delicately and then seal it with something, but that's very annoying, so I'm just going to use this clear film. And for my image, I'm going to use this really cool Mad Max logo, because not only is it a good shape I think for a keychain, but Max is like my favorite character of this season, besides Vecna. He's sick, but no spoilers for me. You'll also need some kind of mold to put it in. You could use any keychain mold. Pretty much all resin starter kits come with one. I'm going to use this cool tarot card I got from a Sophie and Toffee box I never made a video on. It also comes with the cool hollow film to put on the back. And then you'll need some kind of eye pins if you actually want to make it a keychain. So let's go ahead and assemble this. First, put down a thin layer of clear resin to put the back on with. I didn't cut around the edges enough, so I got some air bubbles underneath, and it would definitely make it worse if I try to pull it up and put it back down, which I did try. Don't do that. Next, you can go ahead and cure that, just so it's a little tacky on top so the layers adhere together. Next, you mix up some orange resin, or whatever color you would like, so you have a nice middle, and oops, this was glow powder. So make sure you know exactly what kind of powder it is. But it adds some cool effects later, so I definitely did this on purpose. And so then you can mix up the actual orange resin, and then put down a nice thin layer. The more opaque your color is, the thinner the layer needs to be to cure. But after that, you just put your image down, then cure it, then put down a clear layer over top, then cure that, and then you can pop it out. You just have to put a clear layer on the back to bring out that nice shine. And that's it. That's all you have to do. It takes, well, I think this took me maybe 15 minutes. You can sand around the edges if you want to make it very nice. I just used my scissors to cut off the bad edges. And then to make it a keychain, you can use this hand drill. And by hand drill, I mean you can give up and switch to a Dremel and just drill a little hole into it and then stick your little eye pin in, and then you can either super glue it or use some more resin to seal it. And then you got a sick keychain ready to go. I think if you're gonna do this, I would suggest using some different colors of orange, though the glow powder does add some coolness to it. And now on to our last project, which is the hardest. I don't know if hardest is the right term. More like tedious. It's really just more of layering resin and curing it, but for this, I wanted like a nice deep dark color, So it took me about 35 minutes to finish. So I'm using this Sophie and Toffee USB mold, which I'm also going to make a little bit more complicated because I didn't want to buy the USBs off of their site. And to fit the ones I bought off of Amazon, they're a little bit bigger than this tiny little silicone piece it came with, so I had to make my own. You wouldn't have to do this if you just used the mold it came with. But all I did was make a little silicone putty like piece to fit in there so it makes a big enough hole. And I don't have any footage of this because I did it pretty much when I got the mold because it only came with like 2 USBs, I think. But let's go ahead and actually get this started. Now, the way this works is you make these mountains first, and that'll be the part that holds your USB. So you want it to be a bit more opaque. And UV resin, of course, doesn't like that because the light can't get through. So I use very thin layers and cure it, and this takes a very long time, especially because I make it darker than it needs to be. I use this very nice like green brown. As I got up in layers, I slowly mixed in some black, which made it way too opaque because by the time I finished this, it was having trouble curing at all. And I have a pretty decent lamp. Now, as you get to the end of this mountain, don't forget to put your little silicone piece in so you can make space for your USB. And with the power of editing, what took me an eternity takes about 1 minute. So you can go ahead and remove your little silicone piece before you pop it out in case you have any uncured resin, which I did, because again, I made it too dark. But I can go ahead and fix that by just hitting it with the lamp again. And then it's time to remove the mountains, which, was it worth it? I mean, these did come out pretty cool, so I think it's okay, especially with a mind flare standing on them. Now, if I was smart, I would have put the clear layer down before I decided to tack them to the mountains, so I didn't have to worry about creating any bubbles underneath the film, but I did the other part first, so we're just gonna have to make sure that there are no bubbles. I also added some sparkles to the resin, and the first layer I did was clear plus the sparkles and these cool little like shiny iridescent paper pieces. But as I add layers, I add some blue dye to make it kind of like a night sky. I just add the blue dye to my popsicle sticks so I can make like some cool swirlies. I end up going a little too heavy-handed, and it definitely would have looked cooler if I'd again used some like different shades instead of just using the same one. But you live, you learn. And then you just go ahead and put one final clear layer on the top and you can pop them out. And I think he looks pretty cool, especially if you get some light behind him. I think maybe I should have did reds and purples because that's kind of the color of the upside down. I don't know what I was thinking. But that's what makes it fun. You can make as many of these until you want, until you like it. And then you can glue the USB in. Actually, you know what? I wouldn't recommend using UV resin for this because it's very hard to get the light through, so I just use some super glue to glue your USB in and then put some resin on top to make it nice and flat. And there you go. Those are some quick Stranger Things projects you can do while you're waiting for the last 2 episodes to come out. I mean, we don't have that long to wait, right? Right?